G'day, welcome to another episode of Aaron's Adventures. The adventure that we are on today is something that we don't want to have to deal with, or anybody wants to have to deal with, and something that isn't very funny. It might crack you up, and that is a crack in the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to stitch it with this Heliflex product. All details will be in the link below. The company actually themselves do have a website, a YouTube video on how it is that they do it. I'm doing this video anyway because when I'm doing it for a client, it's got to be done anyway. So I might as well, see if you guys can learn something different from this, because we're in actually kind of an indoor situation. Most of the other YouTube videos that I've noticed, they're always outside. It's easy. They can get the hose and blast it off. They don't have door frames, which is another problem for us. There's an electrical cable behind here. It's only single brick, so there's that problem as well. But you can clearly see what the problem is. It's been now a couple of years. The settling has taken place. If you're going to fix a crack in the wall, make sure the crack is stopped and try and solve the initial problem, which is usually something to do with your foundation or something like that. But once you know that it's stopped moving and that's the end of the crack, you want to be able to fill it up. But you've really got to stitch together. The idea is we're going to stick these here, basically in there. The company also, this stuff isn't cheap. I'll put all details as to where to get it and how much they charge. There is a proper machine, a chaser that can actually chase the exact thickness between bricks. We're not going to do that. I'm going to be as relatable as possible, and I'm just going to do it with a $70 grinder. And also I can't use a hose because I'm, in a sense, in an indoor situation. This isn't a carport with they have furniture and everything around here, so I can't blast it with a hose, so we're going to have to do it dry and basically stitch this up. And we'll see how we go. I'll give a few little pointers along the way to how it is that I've dealt with it. But generally it's a kind of a monkey see, monkey do thing, and we'll see if it comes out good in the end, and fingers crossed it stays that way once it's done. All right, let's get into it. And yeah, not wearing my Sunday finest, am I? Okay, so in order to reduce the amount of dust possible, especially for the client and even for myself, I've just basically just chased across just it's a 5-inch grinder. I'm going just as far as the cutter will allow, which is about 30 mil. I think I'll give an exact measurement at the moment, but it's no more than 25, 30 mil tops. I'll measure precisely in a moment. I'll put it on the screen. But just I've got a little tiny, I don't want to damage the bricks in any way. Give it a tap, and then just breaks the chunk of the crumbs off, gives you less dust. And you have to tap it into one side. Flicks out, and get it out, and that just saves us. I think the tool that cuts the whole lot in one hit, it's got a dust extraction nozzle, everything. It's about $500, so depending on where you live, you're looking half a grand. So, and the whole kit to buy, stuff it is about $500 as well. We almost spent $1,000 because of a crack. I mean, this chisel was like $5. That's what you're chasing. You can actually see how that's why you might have noticed, if you're paying attention, there's some sparks flying, and that's because it was hitting this bit of steel here. And you can see it's actually broken the steel in the process of that crack. So you got your helical bar. We're going to squirt some of that glue in there. That's the same about the ends being curved. You want to go a little bit extra if you need to be able to get that. I'm pretty sure that's about 30 mil. In fact, I'm just going to state it's about 30 mil is roughly what you want, or a 5-inch grinder to its maximum depth is good enough. You squirt the glue in there, then we're going to tuck the bar right in. We're going to poke it right in there deep, and then glue over the top of that. We'll show you that in a moment. And because of the amount of rods that we've got in the kit, that says to go like every 4 or so, but we've got the bars anyway. I'm not taking them home again. We might as well just try and do the right thing. I'm just going to put one almost in every single one of these. I'm going to do this in stages because my hands are vibrating like crazy. But to let the grinder cool down as well. When the heat builds up in the front cog system of your grinder, it can really cause it some severe wear and tear. So it's kind of unnecessary when you can just take a break, let it cool, and give your hands a rest. Swap over the chiseling, and then go back and do it again, just to make your tools last. Can't hurt to that's often the difference with when you buy power tools. Some of them will state like they're cheap tools. It's not for trade use, being it's not meant to run day in, day out, all day long. It can't handle it. The grease can't handle it. The paste can't handle it. It's the heat. That's why you pay extra for good tradesmen's tools that are designed to run every single day. The bearings are better. You pay the extra for that sort of thing. Now, somewhere back in there is the electrician would have chased up the cable. They're just light switches, so it would only be light cable anyway, but fortunately he hasn't gone too deep, and there's no sign of them. But just watch for things like that. You just don't know what's behind that wall and what they've done. There could be gas piping in the wall, could be water plumbing. Check. Just look around, take the time. If you can do, go up in the roof. Have a look if there's any bracings and things or cables going in or where it is. Can't hurt, just to be sure. In the kit, they give you the powder, the liquid, and it does state that they've mixed a whole lot. But they've given them 2 half batches, so I'm just going to do half batch at a time. Because it sounds like, sounds so much fun to do. It's not. Should wear a face mask. I'm using the Invisible brand, the Hold Your Breath series. Yeah, I forgot to hold my breath. It does state the instructions, do not try and mix it by hand. Use the mixer that comes with the kit, and after watching that and how it's supposed to be mixed there, I highly agree with that. You're not going to get a good mix by hand trying to do it like this with a trowel. That just looks beautiful. It's like making a cake. Yeah. I angled the camera down. Ow. Right, don't do that. Don't stick your thumb between there and there. So professional. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. You're not exactly a genius when you go and smash your own thumb at the back of a corking gun. Cement, at all. Cement's kind of actually, the harder it is to get it in the back here. It's a lot easier at the very beginning when I first mixed it. It just did it, one batch of the bag. It just ended just there as I finished it off. Otherwise, I would have had to mix the whole other batch just for the sake of for a few inches. Yeah. It did it. So it's the equivalent of 9 bars. There was 10 in the pack. Perfect. I'll give it a clean up. I'm going to rinse this out because I want to reuse this gun. 4-hour job, say roughly, because I'm slow and lazy. So I'm finding that having it very runny is the answer, because as it bottlenecks, it dries out and it starts to set fast by being compressed. But, having it really runny, taking the time to clean it up, is proving to be a lot quicker. So just in closing, this is a week later, and because I knew it would just take some time for it to dry out. I'm quite impressed with it. I'm happy with it, and so's the owner. He's quite he's satisfied with it. It is very difficult to match things, but I basically did the final coating with a bag of, it was already pre-mixed cream-coloured mortar. It's already pre-made, and I added a couple of scoops of yellow sand to try and get it a bit more like this. If anything, it may be a hue sort of lighter, slightly in shade, but I think in time you find it as dirt and life and just sort of happens, it'll probably just darken out and level out, and you'll never pick it. Now, I didn't feel that the crack's just been filled in with the same mortar, and honestly, you could hardly pick it. I mean, from back here, someone walking into the room who didn't know anything about the crack would barely pick that. And they're probably going to put a shelf across the top there to store goods and things in there anyway. You're not even going to pick it. It's really not that bad. But if I were to try and perfect it, sometimes you can make it worse by trying to get it perfect. It's not too bad as it is, but I've suggested to him just leave it for 6 months and make sure that there's no more movement. But I really can see this thing possibly being able to shift. Well, as you saw, we put rods in every single groove. I've never done this before myself. As I said, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. Got any questions? Comment below. I will do my best I can to get back to you as soon as I can and give you any feedback on that. And like with anything else, take care everyone, and see you on the next video.